there would be something I would probably share about, and I did a post on this recently, about basic bitch business, basic bitch business versus actual boss bitch CEO level mindset business, because they are two very different things. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and if anyone has any questions, if anyone needs a little bit of business coaching or support, advice, mindset, strategy work, please just put it in the comments and I will answer it. I guess I would, yeah. So there is a big difference between boss bitch, basic bitch business and actual like CEO level entrepreneur business. There is a difference. There is a difference in mindset. There is a difference in strategy. There is a difference in the way that you make decisions, or the way that you process information, the way that you invest in yourself, the way that you run your business. So strategically and energetically, these are two completely different spaces to be in. So let's get really, really clear on what basic bitch business is. And this is really, I guess calling it basic bitch business is a way to put a name to that feeling of being stuck, that feeling of playing small, that feeling of, I've been doing this for 5 years and I'm still stuck in the same place, and why isn't this working? This is actually putting a name to that feeling and what's going on behind and underneath that. So when I see someone and they're in this basic bitch, this like boring business, really safe business place, I can usually from the outside see a lot of the things that are going on. And that's why I can confidently say kind of these are the traits of basic bitch business. And it's when it comes down to be like zero consistency in your business, absolutely zero consistency. So when you're showing up with volume one day and then you don't show up for 2 weeks again. It's when you said you were going to show up and do something, you committed to it, to running an event, to doing a thing, to doing whatever it is, and then constantly rescheduling, constantly pulling out, constantly like, oh my God, I'm going through something in life, so I need to not honor all my commitments that I've made. So having that zero consistency is very basic bitch business. When you are constantly, there is a time and a place for investing in free, investing in low cost, investing in really short-term mentorship. There is a time and a place for that. But if you can notice that you are consistently playing at the same level all the time, that is a really good indicator of the reason why you're not moving forward. So, and I see this very clearly. If someone who has been in my circle and in my world for the past 5-6 years, and I watch her consistently only ever invest in free offerings or something around $50 a month. You know what I mean? So she might sign up to a membership, she might sign up to a mastermind, she might do a masterclass, it's $100, but that's kind of like her level, which she's always going to be at. If you're consistently investing and seeking the free, seeking the really low cost, or if you want to have a coach, you want to have mentorship, you want to like expand yourself, but you're still only doing it in really short-term capacities. So this is when, and like I said, there's a time and a place for a short-term mentorship. There's a time and a place for free and low cost offerings. But if you're consistently in that place, you're consistently signing up for every free masterclass and never taking the next step. If you're consistently booking someone for one strategy session and then you go away and try and implement everything, and then you go to the next coach and book the next strategy session and then go away and try and implement, and then 3 weeks later you're looking at the next coach you can afford that's $200-$300. If you've got this pattern of behavior, it's like no wonder you can't move out of that level. It's like you're stuck playing the game at that level because you won't move into a space where it either requires a longer commitment or an investment that actually stretches you. And I see this very clearly. The other one of the other traits of basic bitch business is very much that like starting a strategy, starting a TikTok, starting a Pinterest marketing, and then getting 7 days in and pretty much giving up or changing it or trying something new or shifting it, and like these very short-term strategic moves. And speak about this a lot with the 90-day plan stuff, but your minimum of trying a strategy is 90 to 120 days. At an absolute minimum, you want to put in 90 days to actually know whether something's working or not. So if you're only trying something for 7 days at a time, 7 days, 14, whatever it is, maybe you try something for a month and you're like, oh, that didn't work. And it's constantly like playing small, constantly having this temporary mindset, this safe mindset of like only investing in something if it feels comfortable. You know what I mean? Like if you can easily afford it, reinvesting in it. If you can easily commit to it. So it's like, I can work on my TikTok for 3 weeks. I can do that. That's okay. That's not scary. And then wondering why you haven't grown. It's because, like, let's be honest, it takes a bit more time than that. The other basic bitch business mentality that I see a lot is that waiting to be inspired or waiting to be motivated. And I know I've spoken about it before, where one of my husband's favorite quotes is, you don't treat it like, you know, what happens if you push a fart, it turns to shit. Like, there's certain things in life you don't push to happen, you don't need to force to happen. But at the flip side of this, what I see is so many people relying on their energy to inspire them to write content. They're waiting to be inspired to take the next move. They're, you know, constantly relying on, I've got to be inspired or be motivated by someone else in order to make a move. And all that does is basically outsource your power completely to everyone else and everything else. And that lack of consistency equals lack of trust, and people don't invest in people they don't trust. Yeah. So that leads into the next point, which is like when you're selling via your energy. Selling via your energy is not a consistent business model ever. Right? Do you think like Myers is only selling based on which stage of their cycle they're in every single month? If you are consistently trying to pull on your energy as the sales tactic, and you can tell if you're doing, how to tell if you're relying on your energy is if you've got a course and an offering that is powerful and potent, whether you run it live or evergreen, and you get a bunch of people signing up when you're running it live and you're super excited, and no one signs up when it's evergreen, when it's something they can purchase. Because if you're not excited about it, it doesn't sell. If you're using that excitement and energy to sell, it's all that's going to do is like, it's like a ball and chain that will just lock you in to this vicious cycle of constantly having to be on, constantly having to be the forefront, constantly having to leverage your energy in order to be effective in marketing your business and selling and booking people. So it's a really, really toxic cycle to be in. It's easy to slip into though. Another basic bitch thing I see is objection handling in the DMs. I feel like there is a place for addressing objections or addressing concerns or giving people the information to make an informed decision, but like aggressive DM handling that's not like an elevated CEO experience. You know, think about your favorite brands. You know, if I'm going to do skincare, I'm a La Roche-Posay girl, and I'm not in their DMs asking them to sell me on a toner. I'm not in the DMs saying, but it's so expensive. And they're like, but your skin will be worth it. Like, your marketing should be good enough. Your content should be good enough that you handle that type of conversation in your content and in your marketing, not individually one-on-one in the DMs with people. The other really key basic bitch business indicator is that someone is only able to have an abundant mindset when their bank account's really full. They only feel really good about their business, and they only feel really successful when they're making sales, when things are going really well. Because the fact is, anyone can have an abundant mindset when they're making lots of sales. Anyone can feel successful when they've got lots of leads coming in. It's how you hold your energy in the low months that is actually like the mindset of an entrepreneur and a CEO. So this is the thing as well, and I speak about this a lot in the overflow method, is that there's the mindset of someone who has a business, but you can pretty much call it a hobby business, or they're really self-employed. And then there is the mindset of someone who is a CEO, an entrepreneur. Like, they think differently, they move differently, they are strategic about what they do, and it's a completely different energy and strategy. So the other basic bitch thing of business is when someone's only hiring coaches because they want to be validated in their bullshit. So when someone's hiring a coach and they just basically want to tell them about all the amazing stuff they've done, they want someone to be like, gold star, you're fucking amazing. I think you're fantastic. You're doing a great job. And they basically don't actually want to do anything. They don't want to implement the strategies. They don't want to like do anything. They're literally just flushing money down the toilet. They'll ignore everything the coach says. They just want validation and to be seen. And sometimes, since they can't get that through other ways, they'll hire a coach to give them that validation. So that's kind of the summary on basic bitch business. When we start to look at boss bitch, CEO, business energy and strategy, it's very, very different. And I think this is something, even me, I've been running businesses for 10 years. I have been coaching and consulting for the last 6 years already. And I've been running my graphic design company for 3 years. You know, I've done lots of things. But even at this point in my journey, just recently, over the last 3 months, I've worked with, you know, another mentor at a completely different level than I've worked with anyone before. And the conversations in that space are so vastly different. The way that they think, the way that they process and make decisions, it makes you realize, like, every time you think you've got to a level, there's a whole nother level to go. Every time you think like, oh, I've got it nailed, I'm understanding this is great, there's a whole nother level you don't know yet. And it's almost like you don't know it until you know it. And then once you do, you can never go back to who you were before. How I see business now, it's so different. I can't even fathom myself like 6 years ago when I started this whole new thing. But over all this time, 10 years in business, there are certain traits that you can see in someone that is indicative that they are going to be successful. And keep in mind, these are not just like something you're inherently born with. It's not like blue or brown eyes. These are all things that can be learnt. These are all decisions that you can choose to create this within yourself. But there are some overall traits that I would say that signify someone who's going to be successful, that boss bitch CEO business mindset. I apologize if there's noise in the background. I think my neighbor is whippersnipping, I'm not sure. It's loud. I don't know. I don't think they're mowing the lawn because they don't have much lawn in their backyard, but it's right over the fence there and it's loud. Okay, so boss bitch CEO business. This is when someone's consistent as fuck. They understand that they have to show up and create consistency within their brand. And if they don't necessarily want to do that every single day, they will take the steps and hire the people and outsource things and use stock photos, whatever it's going to be, to make sure that they can still have that element of consistency. So they are not relying on themselves and their energy and external motivation and all that type of stuff to, you know, create content and to show up in those ways. Like if they said they were going to send a newsletter every single week, they'll send a newsletter every single week, even if that means outsourcing to a copywriter, even if that means batching their content. They're not looking for the problems and the reasons why they can't do something. They are really solution focused. And if they are committed to consistency, they'll do what they need to do to get there. The second kind of trait that I feel comes up a lot is they understand that they need to track and analyze their data, right? And here's something that pisses me off, is this whole feminine business trend, right? And it pisses me off because I know from the back end what these feminine businesses actually look like. I have worked for some of these top industry experts in feminine business. I have been in the back end of their systems. I have created design work for them. I have consulted for them. And they are selling you feminine business models, right? They are selling you build your business the feminine way. And the reality is those people selling you feminine business, they are actually incredibly masculine when it comes to running their business, or they have someone hired in their team who is incredibly masculine to run their business, because things like consistency, tracking, analytics, SEO, all that type of stuff, all that type of like action that is required to take and grow a business, to hold a business, to run a business, customer service wise, everything, all the back end systems, technology, all that type of decision making and consistency required and logical processing is incredibly masculine. You need an element of masculine energy to run your business. So either, they're speaking about feminine business on the front end and selling you these courses on feminine business, but really they're making decisions based on numbers. They're making decisions based on the analytics, or they've got someone in their team, like a online business manager, who is running all that type of stuff and presenting them with the information for them then to tap into their feminine and make a decision or whatever it is. So the fact is that the feminine business model is such a quick way to burn out. It really is. And they'll say that masculine is what's burning you out, but masculine energy around your business is actually what creates a consistent, scalable, sustainable business. The fact is, it's not necessarily that you want to have a more feminine business, it's that you want to be able to feel feminine outside your business. You want to be able to run your business, and you need that masculine energy to put in. Okay, this has ended up on a completely separate rant, as you know, and I love that happens with me, that you need systems and structures and processes to run a successful business, and that actually all of that work, while it does take work, it's not creative and fun and feminine and all that type of stuff, but that work and that foundation then allows you to be creative and have fun and launch products, and knowing there's a system and a structure and a process for that. So the whole point I was trying to get to there is that a truly successful CEO, boss bitch, entrepreneur knows that there is a minimum amount of time that she needs to do something, and that is like that 90 to 120 days where she needs to track the information. You're making decisions based on vibes in your business, and probably because you have seen other people do this online, the spiritual coaches of the world, or that woman that you look up to. And the fact is, sometimes they are the exception to that with a very, very powerful personal brand. Sometimes it's not the rule that will work for everyone. A lot of people are making that mistake of launching and creating things based on the vibes and inspiration, instead of what is the problem that I want to solve and what product fits into that, and then using your energy and passion to fuel and grow that, rather than just it's a vibe, right? So when you want to launch something, there is a launch system that goes with that. When you want to implement a new marketing strategy, you need to be tracking that for 90 days to know if it's working or not. If you don't have these systems underneath your business, if you are not tracking and looking at your data, how do you know what's working and what's not? You could be putting all your time and all your energy into something that is not working, into something that is not going to work, into something that needs refining or tweaking or changing. And if you don't have the capacity to be able to look at all that information and make decisions, you don't have a sustainable, scalable business model. And this one little bit of my hair went so weird this morning. Just try and hide that. I need to recurl that. Right, so anyway, tracking, boss bitch energy is tracking, not just vibes. And yes, vibe check your stuff always, but it's not the defining factor that you need. And this is kind of like, I feel service-based businesses get caught up in this so much more than product-based business. And my background prior to working for myself was in product-based business, right? And you look at business differently. You make decisions differently, because it's not like which product do I love the most that I'm selling, and it comes down to which product is the client interested in the most, which product is converting the most. And you can make decisions based on logic. When it's from this service point, we can get really clouded in the emotion and the vibes of it. And instead we need to often we just need to take a step back and look at things logically, right? So the other part of boss bitch energy is, and I just, these are observations over 10 years in business. This one I think I've noticed the most over the last 6 years. As a coach for women, as someone who invests in coaching, as someone who pays attention and has intense pattern recognition to the whole industry as a whole, I can see very quickly the people who invest in once-off sessions, once-off one little call, 2 weeks of Voxer coaching, because that's all I can afford. Like these little bite-sized snippets. And sometimes you do need a bite-sized snippet. Sometimes you do. So there's nuance, of course, to this conversation. But overall, I can see the trend between people who just grab these little pieces and that's all they want to commit to, and someone who says, hey, I want to work with this person for 6 months. My most successful clients have been with me 6 months minimum. My most successful experience with mentorship, 6 to 9 months minimum. There is something here that I think the commitment that you make, it's not just like that one of investment of like, oh my God, I invested $10,000 in myself and my business for this one particular thing. It's saying I'm investing in my growth long term to, as I move through things, have that support. And it's the difference between like hiring, I guess, like a once-off SEO expert to come in and do a website audit versus putting on someone who's going to refine and tweak and analyze your website SEO over 12 months. Like there is a time and a place for both of these, but I notice the most successful results come from, and the women with true CEO mindsets invest in longer term mentorship. It's like this commitment and consistency aspect that I think is probably the main theme in this real, not us versus them, but basic versus boss bitch energy. Yeah. The next thing is, I have notes, obviously. Strategic and intentional plan for so this is the other thing as well. I noticed there's a big difference between people who are posting on social media across any of the platforms, and it's very much just like, what am I feeling today? What do I want to share about today? What trends are going on today? Versus someone who is incredibly intentional about their social media. And I see this with my clients as well when they start working with me at the beginning versus, 6 months in, their intention around their content completely shifts. And it's that intention and planning that allows them to create a sustainable, scalable business. Once you get out of the mindset of like, oh my God, if I just go viral this one time, my product will sell out. If I just can go viral and then everyone will know about me and book me. And instead of that, you start focusing on a long-term intentional content strategy, the entire game changes. So that's one of the key differences I see, honestly, between the women, not the women, but people in business who book one call with me and jump off and implement everything that we've spoken about, but who I can go and see in their business in 2 months' time, they're back to posting the same old things they were before, versus someone who goes in with a very intentional strategy, knowing that they're going to try this way for 3 to 6 months and then collect all the data to refine from there and there. They're very, very intentional about their content, and it might look very relaxed and it might look very casual depending on their customer buyer type and depending on the brand that they're working with. But trust me when I say every single piece of content is intentional. Every single piece of content is intentional. So it's about that real planning, and they are intentional about creating sales and selling every single day as well. So boss bitch CEO business that I see more trends with that is they are selling, because we spoke about before, like selling with energy. So how I see the most successful women that I've worked with, and just as a whole, oh my God, this whippersnipper or lawnmower, whatever they're doing is so loud. Hope you can still hear me okay. So these women sell with an aligned energy. They do. They are aligned to their products and services, the value that stands behind that. They have aligned themselves with their pricing. They're confident in it. They've got clarity around the problems, the solutions, all that type of stuff. So they are selling with aligned energy, with intentional strategy. But there is also a big element to that about planning and the customer experience and customer service. They're backing it up. They're not just focused on the sales, they're focused on the aftercare for that client. They're focused on the follow-up. They're focused on gathering testimonials, because that type of woman, this CEO energy, knows that if you get one client and you take care of them very, very well, and you make sure that they love the product and service, that they have had a good experience with your brand as a whole, if there is any problems, they have been fixed promptly, that translates into a brand loyalty, into them sharing your brand and advocating for your brand with more people. And so like they know that getting one client, one customer can turn into so much more if it is a holistic approach. And I see this is where it comes down to, this isn't just about like women who make $1,000 months and women who make $100,000 months, because honestly, I have experienced this myself as a consumer of women who make a lot of money who do not understand the basics of customer service and experience, who do not have this is business coaches, by the way, who I have paid a lot of money to when there has been massive holes in the customer experience and how they actually run a business. And of course I have given feedback on that, because it's not okay. It's not okay it's not just about making the sale, it's about everything else that happens after that as well. So instead of we spoke before about that objection handling in the DMs, like objection handling. This is when that attitude of like, well, reach out to me if you want to work with me, and then we're gonna have a conversation, and then I'm gonna handle all your objections in the DMs, or book a sales call, and then on that sales call I'm gonna tell you why you need it and then convince you that you need it. And so that is like, for me, I see that as very, very basic bitch 2018 kind of business. How we actually do that moving forward, how like women in business, CEO women in business with a truly entrepreneurial mindset approach their sales, approach that, okay, people are gonna have objections, people, not necessarily objections, but people are going to have questions about our products and service. It comes down to, how do you educate via content to position yourself towards your ideal client? So not only do you need to know your customer buyer type to begin with, but you need to know what questions are they going to have, and how do I address that in my content in the front end, so that I'm not spending 45 minutes every single conversation in the DMs with a client going through everything. And this can be something really simple, from putting facts and questions pages on your website, for actually crafting your content to address those concerns, to answer those questions, and to give enough education for someone to make an informed decision. Yeah. And this is like coming from the perspective of when you're going to buy something online, you haven't shopped from that shop before, who else goes and checks the shipping and delivery information first? I want to know they're going to post to my location. I want to know how long it's going to take. And I probably want to know what like service they use as well. Then I feel more comfortable to order whatever it's going to be through their store. Like, I need the information to make an informed purchase, and that's what it comes down to. Have you given your potential customer or client enough information to make an informed purchase? And it's not about necessarily overwhelming people, because if you've got the brand archetype where someone's quite an assertive buyer or an expressive buyer, they're like, you know, hey, is this experience of buying something going to be fun? Is it going to make me look good? And am I going to be able to do it fast? They don't want to have to like go through an application and wait 4 weeks for something. So knowing your customer buyer type is important, but also knowing, even if you speak ideally to your customer buyer type, you may have 1 or 2 people who are from a different buyer audience find you. And so you need to make sure that you're still covering all bases there. So that's what I would say with that one. The next thing would be abundant mindset. The basic bitch business is where there is an abundant mindset, but only when making the sales, only when things are going well, only when you're got lots of clients and your Stripe account's looking really fat and everyone's inquiring and wants to work with you and you feel really abundant and successful. And then when it's not happening for that week or month or whatever it may be, and you're not holding that same level of interest with people, you're like, I'm a worthless piece of shit and I'm no good at this. And you're scrolling on Seek to go get a 9-to-5 job again. And you're like, well, it's easy for everyone else to say have an abundant mindset because they're wealthy and making money. And it's like, you create the mindset first and then the wealth and money comes. I think I might be getting a bit sick, actually. I feel a bit rubbish right now. So when your bank account is dusty as fuck, when you haven't had any payments come through, when people aren't inquiring to work with you, when your last ad campaign flopped, when your event didn't sell out as many tickets as you wanted it to, when you can hold your energy, when you can still say, I'm doing well and I believe that I'll be successful and I believe if I keep going, this will make a difference, and you can actually still hold that energy even through the shitty days and the bad moments and when no one's purchasing your product, and you can still hold that level of faith in yourself that you'll figure it out and you'll keep going and this is all going to work out, and you believe in your product and your message and what you're offering so much. That mindset is what creates that bulletproof certainty. That mindset is what creates like sustainable decisions, because if you're allowing the number of sales that come in to dictate whether you feel good or not about your business, to dictate how you make decisions from your business. If you had a $10,000 month and so you knew you would hire someone, you would outsource this, you would outsource that, you would pay your insurance, and then the next month you did $1,000 a month, and so suddenly you're like, insurance is a load of shit, and I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that, and you make decisions differently based on that metric of how many sales you're bringing in or how successful your business looks. If you're allowing that type of stuff to up and down your energy so much, that's just like, let's be honest, it's toxic as fuck, right? And that energy, that inconsistency leaks through into your marketing. And that's when you see people like had a good month and they had a bad month, and then they let that bad month affect their energy. And they let that energy affect how they made decisions. They let that affect their marketing. They got really desperate in what they did. They moved out of integrity. They moved out of alignment, and they created this spiral where it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And that's what it comes down to. If you're letting your results affect your energy and your decision making, like, don't get me wrong, your results should affect your decision making. You should be looking at what's going on in your business and what's working and what's not, and make decisions based on that process. But like, take the emotion out of it and look at all this stuff logically. So, and then the final point that I see collectively is the basic bitch business versus that CEO mindset. The basic bitch business will kind of like, I guess, very consistently hire coaches to feel validated and supported, but not actually be willing to take the action to get a return on that investment. Versus women with that CEO mindset, they're hiring coaches, they're working with people who will expand them, who will challenge them, who will call them out on their shit, who will make things uncomfortable, who will force you to action the strategy that they give you. So when you're hiring a coach and you've got that, like, or a consultant, or you're investing in your business in any way, whatever it may be, and you've got that basic bitch energy, you you just want to be validated, you want to be supported, you want to invest in that course, and that course fix the thing. You want to invest in that mentor, and that mentor give you the secret answer. That exclusive secret that she's holding on to that you don't know about. She's going to give that to you and everything's going to change. That energy is why you keep investing in things and they're not working out for you. You're not seeing the progress that you really desire. When I see true entrepreneurial CEO mindset women who are very successful, they're successful because they invested in something and said, what do I need to do to meet this level of investment? So let's say they invested in like a marketing agency, and so they're like investing a lot, like $10,000 in a marketing agency per month, whatever it's going to be. And so they ask themselves, what do I need to do? Who do I need to become? What do I need to shift to meet that level of investment to actually create radical change. If the marketing agency is going to come back and say you need to change XYZ, how do I meet that? How do I move with that? How do I do it? How do I change my mindset? How do I, actually meet that investment and create the change in reality so that something actually changes? This is the thing. People expect to invest or pay the money towards something to grow, and that investment or paying the money was enough for things to change. And it's not. The fact is, if you don't actually change anything in your life, in your decisions, in your mindset, in the way that you move through this world, then it's like same equals same. Just because you paid for something doesn't mean it's all magically going to shift, right? So that's just the mindset difference that I really see between these two kind of categories. And I'm not saying that basic bitch business will never be successful. They may. It's probably going to take a lot longer and be a lot harder. And these observations are purely just from, that pattern recognition of watching successful women, of investing in mentorship myself, of watching my clients who move the fastest, who create the biggest shifts from working with me. These are the things they do. They might not have been the mindset they hold when they came in, but they were willing to meet the investment and ask themselves what they had to do, what they had to shift to actually get a return on that investment. So what you have to do is energetically shift into your boss bitch, entrepreneur, CEO mindset energy. And you have to actively choose to take decisions, and to take action from that place. And when you can do that, that's when everything changes for you. So that's how you enter your boss bitch CEO era, is you shift your mindset and you understand that there is a difference between where you are now and where you want to be. I've just literally given you the roadmap to it. And you understand there is a difference. You step into that new version of yourself. You make decisions from that place. You make moves and take action from that place. And watch how fast everything changes. Anyway, I'm going to go take some cold and flu medicine because I actually don't feel too good right now. I feel a bit rubbish. I'm like getting a bit of a temperature. So, have a good Wednesday.